Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Hey, Rhiannon Journey. Hey, Nix. Diginanigans. What's up, y'all? Gang's all here. Happy Friday. We're back to close out the week here. Some game dev. We're hopefully going to finish up our little auto-tiling refactor. We did a lot yesterday. We sorted out that issue with the underlying tiles showing through, which is pretty remarkable that that was what the problem ended up being. Let's kind of do like a sit rep here, I guess. Let's take a look at what we got. No room world so far today. You were clean. Good luck remaining so, Nix. Yeah, I'm feeling the desire to start another grab ship run. I shouldn't do that tomorrow because though our let's plays are like a treat, or they're supposed to be like a little treat. And if I don't do enough work during the week, I don't feel like I should do one of those, but we'll see. We'll see what we end up doing tomorrow for our Saturday stream. We may work, we may play RimWorld or Void War or something. It's going to kind of depend on how the work feels at the end of this stream. Hands you a one-day sober chip. That's hilarious, Random Journey. Diginanigans, you're not doing too bad. You're finally getting back to working on your game stuff again after a hectic couple weeks. You're working on your editor tools some more. That's what we love to hear. We love to hear other people spending all their time on their editor tools. So yeah, we fixed everything. So we've got our 3 different auto tiling layers, but they're all running through the same functions. So the body of the ship, what I'm now kind of thinking of is like the active overlay, which is this, the one that follows the mouse cursor around and like lets you know what you're operating on. That one's also running through the same functionality. And then there's also the selection, which is like the interactive one, but with some hard outlines. There's a few changes to the selection one we need to make because there's some cases where we don't get exactly the behavior we want. Like if I add this block here and then I try to select it, you see at the joint here, at this inner joint, we don't get any outlines, and I would like to see them there. We get them here, which is a little curious actually. Probably because of the cutaway. We don't get them here, but that's because of the sorting rules. You feel like unifying the auto tiler and figuring out the grid drawing stuff is pretty good progress? Yeah, that's true. That's true. I haven't been working as much or as often as I would have liked this week, so maybe that's what I'm held up on. Nix, you agree with RJ? That's nice. That's nice to hear. All right, so the way we would get these bottom little outlines here, we would need to... We're not doing a hull comparison, but we do need to do like a... I don't want to do a block comparison, so I guess we can do a hull comparison. We could say, okay, what hull type are we overlaying across? Is there a similar hull type next to us? Because we're achieving that here, but I think that's due to, like, we're achieving it within this block, but yeah, I think that has to do with the cutaway. I think it's checking the cutaway and saying, okay, there's a cutaway here, so we need the outline. But in this case, it doesn't say that. There's probably some other issues. Like, let's maybe look around a little more to see if we can spot any other things. I should probably made more layers. I wasn't too worried about not streaming enough this week because it's GMTK, and I feel like GMTK is kind of like pulling all the air out of the room or whatever. Sucking all the air out of the room, as people say. Which people seem to be doing some really cool stuff with the theme, which is exciting. But I assume that's what most of the community is doing this week anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe we will do a Let's Play tomorrow. Oh, this is not good, whatever's happening here. Okay, a few things are happening here, which is unusual. One is the interior wall of this corner is not being rendered. Another, the tops of these half blocks are also not being rendered. Okay, that seems like a more serious problem. All right, what do we think is causing that? So it's the X face, the X and the Y faces are hiding, but that's probably because it identifies that there's a block in front of it, but what it's not doing is it's not noticing that the block in front of it is a half wall. So our desire to prevent overdraw is causing a little bit of too much culling. Have I been watching Strange New Worlds? I'm going to. I rewatched the season 2 finale like a week ago, just so I could remember, because they kind of ended on like a cliffhanger, right? And it looks like season 3 picks up immediately. So I will be watching those probably next week. But yeah, I'm excited. I like Strange New Worlds a lot. I think that's a great show. I was excited to see, I think it was like Rise Darby or something. I think he's playing Trelane in episode 2 or 3 or something like that. That looked hilarious. I'm excited to see that as well. That was going to be your next question, how I feel about it in general. I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it's kind of obviously, I mean, these aren't new arguments, but it's like a reaction to like Discovery, which I actually think Discovery is okay. I'm like kind of midway through season 4, I think. I watched that show very slowly because it's a little... It's a heavy show, and I don't want to watch it most of the time. But I think Strange New Worlds is an interesting counter to that style. Rice Darby's great. Yeah, I'm very excited for that. You think you think the franchise kind of lost steam during Discovery? Yeah, maybe. I mean, the franchise really lost steam during Enterprise, right? And I think Discovery was actually a pretty interesting attempt. I thought they made really interesting choices, like having the main character not be the captain, having some incredible guest star captains like Michelle Yeoh and Oscar Isaacs. I thought that was like really smart. And then they kind of, by the time I'm watching it now, it's kind of gotten into just a regular... It's gotten back to more what typical Star Trek form that I would expect, where the main character is the captain, and we're back to kind of all the interesting and unique things I think that were about that show had early on. I guess people really didn't like it, and they kind of abandoned a lot of that unique storytelling approach. And now it's just like, as far as I can tell, it's just like a regular Star Trek again. But it's cool. I have grown fond of the characters. And it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous show. You feel like Strange New Worlds is more classic Trek feels? Yeah, I think it is. I think you're right. Your partner and you lost steam in Discovery around midway season 4. That is exactly where I am. And I also have lost steam because now I'm like, I don't know what we're caring about anymore. There's like a nebulous threat. You really liked the early Discovery stuff a lot? Yeah, I did too. I mean, obviously I didn't necessarily love the visual direction of the Klingons, but, you know, whatever. I don't think you can reimagine something like that. And they abandoned it pretty quick. I appreciate the incentive to do something different, but, like, maybe don't worry about it. But yeah, I think they also kind of lost the unique characteristic of their show. I was really interested in it for a while. And now I kind of just, I'll watch one every once in a while, just keep the story going. I think in principle, I do like that approach. I mean, obviously, Strange New Worlds is like going back to episodic storytelling in a big way. So it is more like classic Trek. I think Star Trek was at the forefront of the transition from episodic to serialized storytelling, especially around the TNG to like Deep Space Nine. Obviously, Deep Space Nine is like the Star Trek show that like embraced serialized storytelling in a way that none of them had before. And at the same time, Babylon 5 had been on the air and kind of changed the game for sci-fi as far as the kind of stories you could tell on TV. And I feel like there is some I like episodic storytelling, but I feel like you can't totally go back, especially nowadays, because the medium as a whole has really embraced the serialized storytelling. You feel like the Klingons have been the weakest of both Discovery and Strange New Worlds. Like they're the weakest reimagining. Yeah. I think Strange New Worlds was cool. I mean, I liked Discovery's following of the Klingon War. And I love there are Klingon War or Klingon War adjacent episodes in Strange New Worlds. Like the Butcher of Jagal episode, the Doctors episode last season is like easily one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek like ever, right? Like it's so good. It also it's got Ron Howard's brother in it, so obviously it's like instant Star Trek classic episode. I don't remember the name of that episode, but it's so good. Maybe it was just called The Butcher of Jagal. I don't remember, but incredible. So there have been some good Klingon storylines, but yeah, generally it's tough. All right, Nix, I didn't forget about you. You spent your free time today installing TinyCore on this old Windows tablet you have. It's pretty old, but it's pretty powerful for running a Discord bot. After trying to get Wi-Fi working, you had Wi-Fi 6 mode turned on your router so the tablet couldn't see it. Yeah, that's Wi-Fi 6 is pretty advanced. After all of this, you realized it'd be a pain to get .NET running on TinyCore, so you just gave up and you're gonna recreate everything on a Raspberry Pi with a Blazor server. So you have a website to like be able to do maintenance on it. Oh, that'd be cool. That's cool. Very cool. Nix, you only saw one Star Trek show, the one with the mushroom tardigrade FTL drive thing. That was Discovery. Yeah, that was Discovery. Which I liked that. I liked the unique stuff about Discovery. It showed a time that we hadn't really seen before. It showed a number of times we hadn't really seen before. They did the best in a tough situation with the time jump, because they kind of started to run up against canon, which Strange New World is getting to that point too, where it's like almost run out of runway and there's almost no runway left before we just reach TOS canon. So I think people are sad that Strange New Worlds has been canceled, but it's like inevitable, right? Because there's no more story left to tell. But I'm excited to see what their last couple seasons bring them. I think Star Trek's in a good spot right now. I mean, if you don't count the movies. I think Star Trek on TV is in a great spot. Star Trek in the movies has never recovered since Nemesis. I mean, J.J. Abrams, whatever. All right, what am I doing? Were we working on something? Oh yeah, I'm trying to find this bug on why the bulk X and Y faces aren't showing. Because they're being overcalled. This is just the Star Trek review episode, I guess. Yeah, I think early Discovery was really interesting. I obviously haven't seen the last half of season 4 or season 5, but to keep it spoiler free, I think through season 3 was really interesting stuff. And then season 4, this is the first season where I'm like, I'm not really sure what we're doing anymore. which is kind of the opposite of how most Star Trek shows go. They usually start pretty weak and then get really strong. But I think nowadays that you can't do that. There's a lot of pressure to deliver on every episode. Why not change the story, like an alternate universe type of deal? They've done that. They've essentially done that multiple times, on at least once on TV and once in the movies. Because there's the Kelvin timeline, and then there's some stuff with Discovery. It's not really alternate so much as like, it kind of is an alternate universe, depending on how you feel time jumps work. Whether you feel time jumps exist within a single timeline, or if you think any new timeline creates a new reality. I don't know. Do we have new TV shows coming? You'd love to watch something set parallel to Voyager DS9? Something that isn't bound to old canon? Well, there is something that's not bound to old canon, which is Starfleet Academy. And I guess Prodigy. I don't know if Prodigy is still airing, but Starfleet Academy is coming out. And that's going to be interesting because that's got Robert Picardo, the EMH doctor. And that's set like after Lower Decks. I mean, we can just say the Lower Decks is the best Star Trek show ever made, right? Like, it's easy. Obviously, that's kind of like a flippant opinion to have about it, but it's true. It's complicated because it's like that show can't exist in a background. It depends on like 30 years of, actually more than 30 years. It depends on like 50 something years of like canon and fandom and stuff like that. It feels like the culmination of everything that is Star Trek. Lower Decks is S tier. Yeah, it's so good. Insane. How have you not heard about Academy? I think it's because they're actually playing it kind of weird. It's kind of like the latest attempt to get like, you know, the quote unquote youth into Star Trek. So I think it's going to be, people are saying it'll be very Gen Z coded and stuff, you know, because it's about this young group of cadets coming into this, and that's supposed to be, you know, that's supposed to parallelize that's supposed to run parallel with the audience idea of like it's a new generation getting introduced to Star Trek for the first time. Maybe it's not presented quite as kiddie as like Prodigy was. Prodigy is like animation and stuff, and not like Lower Decks animation, not like 2D Rick and Morty style animation. It was like 3D. You're scared now. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what it is. I don't know if it's going to be for me, but I'm also not one of those haters that just is instantly hostile to anything new Trek. Trek is Trek. And like people, I was really late to Discovery, and I had already heard all the conversations about how, you know, Discovery wasn't Trek. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? This is like so Trek. So very Trek. All right, so what we're thinking, I think what we're talking about here is that the lower Atlas chord, the Y chord, is being set incorrectly for a case where we have a hull change. Not a hull change, but when we have a block, like a wall block and then a floor block. Actually, which problem am I trying to solve right now? I'm probably trying to solve the overculling problem is probably what I'm doing. So let's worry about the overculling problem. And then we'll worry about the outlining. All right, so there's an issue with this top line call here. Yeah, I am also worried. No, I love talking about Star Trek. I am also worried it's going to have like a, I think it's a funny way of putting it, like a CW show kind of vibe. I am interested in setting Star Trek shows in different, like not always having it just be set on a ship. Like DS9 was brilliant, right? I mean, DS9 had the controversy that it basically ripped off Babylon 5 and kind of sucked the air out of the room for Babylon 5, but I think that setting is brilliant, and I think they did incredible things that you could not have done otherwise. Like, you wouldn't have had characters like Garrick or Quark. They wouldn't fit on like a typical Star Trek setting. It had to be like a space station or something. All right, so if cutaways has so if this block is being cut away, obviously we don't worry about it. Or if there's a hole here and I needed to add a condition here. I think we can put has any and remove the I think we need another parentheses. Cutaways has any. Do we not have a version of has any that takes no parameter? I feel like the cutaway does. We have a version of has any here. Yeah. So here we can say get has any, and we can just not have a value. Oops, we need a variant of this that doesn't involve a value. No, there's a version of this that doesn't. I thought there was. I guess this is easy. This is just, you just say public bool has any, no parentheses, you just say, or actually, I guess you need to submit a value, extent, you just say, is extent, or extents, is extents not equal to 0? Extents not equal to 0. Oh, there's a way I want to do this. Oh, hey, Fusion. Fusionist, what's up? You dropped a new album. Rhiannon Journey. You like the idea of the universe expanding and seeing new points of view that still have that Trek message of hope that we can make a better future. I want to listen to that music you shared. I haven't had a chance yet. That's about what's going on for you? Nice. Yeah, I remember you talking about working on it. All right, so how do we want to do this? How do we want to just check that it's not... Oh, we just do a contains check. What am I talking about? We don't, instead of saying has any, we just say contains. Because yeah, if it's in the cutaways thing at all, then we're concerned. Okay, so that was an easy mistake. The containment check, we're not checking. We don't care about what the specific cutaway is. We just care about whether there's a cutaway at all. And then that's also a problem for the Z here. I think that's our entire overculling problem, is just that one distinction. It's on the menu today. We're finishing. I hope we're finishing the bug hunt related to the autotiler refactor, where all of our different overlays and stuff and the underlying tiles, everything is being funneled through the same autotiling process. We've unified it, and there's just a few bugs left. We've squashed most of them. I think we've just squashed another one. Let's double check. But yeah, we're very pleased. Yep, okay. So now we got the stuff on the sides working. That's pretty good. Oh, we still have this overlapping. We still have this issue, but only here. Interesting, interesting. What if we put some blocks here? Oh, weird. Okay, hold on. We still have some Z issues. So why don't you draw here? Oh, I see some overdrawing happening still. Okay, we haven't totally figured it out. I'm concerned about some of this extra drawing that I can see. When I do this, I can see some extra stuff in the back on the side there getting drawn. Interesting, interesting. Oh, there's another. I understand what the check is. Oh, nice. You've listened to the album Read on a Journey? It's good. Post in the server. It's just on Bandcamp. That's okay. I don't have Spotify. Oh, you canceled your Spotify? Rihanna Journey? Yeah, I am a YouTube premium person, which they've made a lot of improvements to their music app. I'm not super pleased with how they nuked the podcast app and just put it on YouTube Music, but I do appreciate it. It's just one app that I use for all of my audio stuff. And it's not like I'm gonna have YouTube Premium either way. I've had that since it was called YouTube Red. All right, so I think what's happening. So I think we have something weird here. So I think this is causing a little bit of overdraw. So instead of and not this, we can also add another or. So I think we can do this. I think we can say, or we can say cutaways dot get, or we can say cutaways dot has. Actually, what do we want to say here? Do we want to do get? Or do we want to do try get? I think we can just do get. Unless that causes a failure. What does get do? Oh, we get value or default. Beautiful. Key.xyz plus vector3i.x. Oh, we don't need to do get. We can just index in. We don't actually need to. We can access it via indexer. Here we'll say this. So we're going to say, so either that cutaway doesn't contain the value or if our cutaways match. Like if our cutaway levels are the same, then we can also skip drawing this thing. Oh. Fusionist, you made the decision to put a few things on Spotify for your friends, ignoring how that platform has such poor track record. Set up this release last month before the extra news and AI stuff happened. They really try their hardest to make artists feel miserable working with them. Yeah, they're kind of weird. Their AI podcast recap thing is super weird too. This needs another set of parentheses. There we go. Nix, your bot used to be an image scraper where one could set up certain options and it would search for said pictures. You could have server rules, channel rules, user rules for who, when, how many images, etc. You enjoyed creating it. This was a Discord bot, huh? You stopped as you really didn't have too much time to work on it and keep up to date Discord updates. It's interesting. Fusionist, you're calling it a Jarvis find a picture of what we're talking about bot. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool if you've got a bigger Discord server. And like you can't really pin everything. All right, so I think this refinement should help us with one of those things. So I'm going to just implement it for the other side. This should help with the overdraw that we've got. But it's not going to help with the top faces disappearing. That for that. Yeah, the fact that Spotify is, I think they're putting their own music up on there because they don't have to pay out for it is like wild. It's just going to be full of so much slop. Oh, the Discord bot. So your bot, Nix, was not about searching the Discord server for pictures. It was about like identifying a conversation topic and then finding pictures on the web related to that topic. Is that what it did? It scraped the web, not the server. I guess that makes sense. That's what I would interpret a web scraper to mean. Interesting. All right, so actually, let's make sure that I fix the other thing because I won't be able to tell once I put the tiles back on top. I won't be able to tell if I fixed it or not once I've done that. So let's just see if I fixed it here. Okay, well that's a problem. Oh, duh. I think I copy pasted some code and did not flip the axes. There we go. Should do it. I take it you're not doing GMTK, Fusionist? I know a lot of people are. The theme seems pretty strong this time. I mean, I think the theme is usually pretty strong, but I was interested. I'm not going to lie. I was pretty interested in it. All right. Okay. Yeah, okay. I don't see any overdraw. You'll notice that weird dark gray section. We're only drawing that one backstop tile. We're overdrawing it in the sense of like If I had just a top half only tile, I could draw that, but I don't. So we just draw the one tile. Okay, so we fixed the overdraw. The problem, though, is I think it's because there's a tile above us. Like, there's a ceiling above us. The system is like, oh, there's a ceiling above you. I don't need to draw this. It's like, yeah, but the ceiling's been cut away. So we need to add something to check that. Which is interesting, because that problem doesn't exist here, obviously, because there's no ceiling above. And then we can fix that outline problem. And then this is interesting. The grid. Oh, no, the grid doesn't show up there anymore. That was a side effect of some other problem. Okay, the selection grid is looking correct, which is nice to see. I like to see that. No, you're keeping busy, though. I've got ambitions to make both D2J and Ludum Dare. Me too! I'm going to do the same. I'm looking forward to Down to Jam. That's going to be like my practice. I say practice. That's going to be my like low-key jam to get back into it, because I have not had a successful game jam for a year since solo dev jam number 4, August of last year, when we made mini delivery. So, and I crashed out of my last Ludum Dare, so I'm like, I need a chill jam that's just nice, small, just the community, a little small community jam, get my confidence back, and then, yeah, do Ludum Dare. Because Ludum Dare is just too good for the channel. I arguably should have done GMTK just for the engagement and awareness, because it's always a big boost to the channel. And it's how I meet everybody, you know? Yeah, I do like little apps, like by devs for devs, that are just these janky little things that serve a very specific purpose. I wish I was better at that kind of thing, because there's definitely lots of little like tools that I would love to develop for myself that I cannot, because I'm not a web dev. All right, so what are we thinking? We're thinking that the Z level, so this Z level thing, this is over aggressive. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Down to Jam. And then they haven't announced the Ludum Dare dates, I don't think, for October. I presume it's October. It's always October. It usually matches up very poorly against some other events I have, so I'm hoping it won't this year, but I'm really waiting to see. 63 days away from what? From Ludum Dare. Oh, do they have the October dates up? I looked on the website and I didn't see it, but maybe I looked at the wrong website. October 3rd. Let me see if that's going to be annoying for me. Yep, that is exactly the weekend of a major event in San Francisco that I go to every year. And I'm going to basically have to decide what to do. That's really unfortunate. That happens every time. I don't know why they picked that exact weekend. Darn. Yeah, and I think the problem is there's like 2 Ludum Dare websites. And one of them is like not helpful. Yeah. Just clone myself. We'll see. We'll see how I feel after Down to Jam. I'll probably almost certainly do Ludum Dare. But I might have to start thinking about finding an alternative. I might have to start doing things like GMTK and stuff. I want jams. If I do a jam, I want to do a jam that has like a solo category, because I really don't like competing, but I am a competitive person. And so part of it for me is like I need to feel like I'm on like relatively even footing. So I have a problem with these very open jams where it's like you could have a 6-person team or you could be one person and you're all competing. We're all jammers. That bothers me. It bothers my ego, but you know, that's me. So I like Down to Jam has its like one-man army or whatever they're calling it, one developer army mode, which is like a solo mode. Ludum Dare has a solo mode. GMTK does not have a solo mode as far as I can tell. There's a chance you figure one jam's enough. Yeah, I might come out. It might be a game where I'm like, this is all I've got this year. Having a solo category is a huge plus for Ludum Dare. Yeah, yeah. The event is the Hardly Strictly Bluegrass Festival in San Francisco. Fusionist. It's a 3-day hardly strictly bluegrass, so it's like it's all sorts of music. It's rock, it's funk, it's jazz, blues, soul, all music, all good music. And it takes over Golden Gate Park every year, and it's a 3-day completely free music festival subsidized by a banjo playing dead billionaire named Warren Hellman, who like 15 years ago or something like that basically set aside a ton of money so that this event would be free and would continue to be free indefinitely. So it's the best in my opinion. It's the best, you know, music festival I could ever go to, because it's like not far from where I live, totally free, incredible music. The vibes are so good. It's so low key because it doesn't have all these pressures of like a Coachella or like an Outside Lands or whatever. Super cool event. And yeah, it's always on the Ludum Dare, the fall Ludum Dare schedule. It's always the exact same weekend, and it drives me insane. Set up a tent with a large battery pack and move your computer streaming setup there. Yeah, they stream the festival live. Maybe they've got the equipment. I'll just jack into their setup. Stream from the festival. A literal game jam. Yeah, exactly. All right, so what do I think is the problem with this function here? So we're saying key with W. Oh, is it not key with W? It's key plus vector3i dot z. Actually, it's minus key. Actually, it could be this. It could be key with W. Oh, no. This is what it is. It's key with W minus. So if there is a block above us and not key.xyz minus vector3i.z. That would probably be it. Actually, it's not a contain check here. Here it's a has cutaway.extents.fulldeck. But yeah, we'll see. We have an idea for like a little cute use case of like my tools and stuff that would be fun for a game jam, of like making a little cozy little like desktop companion. I'm hoping someday when I have more assets and I have more functionality built up, like after we finish the simulation layer, it'd be really fun to do something like that. You just have like a little desktop app that's just like a ship with like a little crew, and they just go out around doing their little thing, and it's kind of like you kind of just watch them do it. There's an example we were talking about the other day. It's called a it's called, what's it called? I don't remember what it's called. But it's a Steam game. It's really cute. It's called Ropuko? Ropuka's Idle Island, is that it? Might be it. Yeah, Ropuka's Idle Island. Where you just have this little frog in his little house in his little yard, and he just takes turns from like taking a nap and like cutting grass. And it would be so fun to have like a little freighter hauler little version of this where it's just like a ship jumping around and like all you can do is like change the interior of the ship or maybe like the outfits people are wearing, and you can just watch them going about their day in the little corner of your desktop. Because it could be quite small because our canvas resolution is only, you know, 360p at full size. So we could probably cut that in half to like 180 or something. But yeah, this game is adorable. I would love to make a little thing like this using our tools. I think that would be fun. I would want to find like a jam that like fits it. Maybe like an idle jam or something where you're allowed to use pre-existing code and assets. I don't know what I would call it though. Digital ILIAD. Alright, I think we fixed the problem. Yeah. Everything is rendering the way it should. Don't mind this. All right, cool. So that problem's fixed. The only thing we need to fix now is like the selection stuff. All right. Okay, that's a little weird. This is a little weird. So we need... Oh, hold on a second. That's wrong. Okay, so there's a vertical line that's present that shouldn't be. So if I unselect this, oh no, that's happening to both. Okay, we have to fix this problem again. The old autotiler, we fixed this of like it's the case of a full wall that's got a half wall behind it. Is there ever a possibility that a full wall I guess it doesn't matter in that case. Yeah, so we got to check our negative block and see if it's a half block and we're a full block. And if it is, we have to shift down. Okay, I know where this is. Happy Saturday. Hey, pandas. Happy Saturday. Yeah. That's funny. Killing me. Took me a second. I wish I was done working. Actually, the great irony is that I'm going to have to work over the weekend. Probably Sunday. For at least a few hours. And we're talking day job. We're not talking game dev. Yeah, it's rough. It's kind of... I told my work I would work more because we're crunching through some stuff that was anticipated and some stuff that's just kind of come up randomly. That's made everything a lot more difficult. So I agreed to work a bit more, but like I'm having a hard time finding the time during the week. And also for other reasons, I'm having to to make sure stuff is prepped on Monday, I'm having to check in on Sunday. It's really unfortunate. It's hopefully just a temporary situation, but the combination is really frustrating. Working on the weekend is sacrilege. Yeah. Hey, at least I didn't have to drive an hour and a half just for the office to have no power. RIP. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I did hear about that. That sucks. $ day job. Hey, Alex. How's it going? Welcome in. We're working on our FTL-like, our 3D FTL-like digital Iliad here. We're working on a tool to build these 3D spaceships that we'll be using as the levels for this game. Diginanigans, you've been absolutely slammed the last 3 weeks yourself. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I've also been working too much and quite tired. What am I doing here? You were supposed to be off today, Nanigans? You had a bunch of urgent stuff you were working on from about 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. Oh, that is not being off today. I'm sorry. That is unfortunate. You think being slammed is just the new norm now? I know. There's so many reductions in force everywhere, so that like there's less people to do the work in a lot of places, and like the people that are left are expected to like somehow magically use AI to like double or triple their productivity while retaining the quality of the work, which is impossible. Like you could maybe increase your productivity, but that's pre-quality control, right? Like, yeah, I don't know what people are supposed to do now. I'm a little insulated from that, but yeah, it's rough out there for anyone and everyone. But at least we're creating value for the shareholders, you know? At least we can take that. At least we can know we're doing that. You're good, thanks. You love FTL, you like the isometric view? Yeah, thanks. It's very low for an isometric view. It's like a dimetric view, so it's like about half the angle of an isometric view. So it's 4 pixels wide and 1 pixel tall. So it's like isometric would be 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Like 2 run, 1 rise, or 1 rise, 2 run, whatever you want to call it. This is 4. And I like it because it lets me do the characters as very side-on, almost like pop-up book kind of characters, which is good for me because we're at a very low res and it's very hard to communicate perspective. So we've got kind of the environment is in this kind of 4:1 perspective, and then the characters, the foreground characters, are almost these little pop-up guys that run around, and it creates this kind of, I like it. It creates this little effect. Like you'll notice these chairs they're sort of in perspective, but not really because you can't see the tops of them. You can only see the sides. Like you can see their swivel, their sideways swivel, but there's no up-down swivel. Cool. I hope so. But yeah, thank you for hanging out, popping in. Hope you're having a happy Friday. You got a nice weekend ahead of you. I'll show you our little tool. I don't think I broke it. Did I see the article? I did not see any article. I just heard about some stuff. So we've got this 3D. It's an autotiler that comes with a cutaway system, so it like manages our view into the world as well as controlling how to interpret the structure. So it figures out how to draw the structure, which is a 3D structure. Oops. It's a 3D structure being rendered in 2D. I'm going to finish hollowing out some rooms. It's also got this flood fill system so that it can tell where the compartments are. And we're going to use this to build these ships and space stations and bases and asteroids and all sorts of stuff. All the stuff that you can interact with and play in the game. And we've got this system that lets you peer into the ship at different levels. So yeah, we've been all tools development pretty much all the time. What we're fixing right now is we're fixing some stuff with our selection overlays. Actually, we're fixing something very specific, which is if we make a structure like this and then we partially cut it away, you'll see this black vertical line show up, which means we're not correctly altering one of the coordinates for the atlas for that tile set. So we're spotting that error, and then we'll fix this missing outline. So we got a few little minor bugs to fix, but we just finished a major refactor of the system, which we're very happy with in general. Rhiannon Journey, your company isn't big enough to have shareholders, but you sleep well at night knowing the owner is profiting off your labor and is almost surely underpaying you. Yeah, that's got to be good. That's got to be good sleep. It looks like you can see a little bit of the top of the chair. Hey, Voidblit, how are you doing? They treat you pretty well, things considered. Yeah, there's... Let's see. That might just be a trick of the light. That's not really the top of the chair. It's supposed to be like a two-tone. It's supposed to be like trim. But I think it's a little confusing the way I've done it. I think in new versions of the chair, I've extended it 1 pixel down further so that the trim comes halfway behind the person's head. Then you don't have that kind of weird coincidence with the line work. Yeah, I think if we looked at a newer version of it, we would see that. Let's look at one of the variations of it. Assuming I can find it. I actually don't know where this file is. Is it here? Oh, here it is. Thought I redid this for one of them. Yeah, oh. Was it just this one? Oh yeah, so when I was messing around with this palette, which I don't like, I like extended the backs of the chairs down, and I think that was good. These are just some palette experiments. I don't love it, but I do like the changes to the chair. Make it a little clearer. I think this is my favorite alternative palette. Hey, you just noticed that the humans are actually much smaller than you thought? You always thought the white chairs at the front were actually like an armor on the shirts. Oh. Is it going to be possible to do palette swaps in game? I think so. I think so. I think I will have a palette. I think I will have a palette swapping capability. It's really not that hard, obviously. You just do like a 2D like UVs thing. Like you just have a lookup texture, right? Instead of directly painting the colors. I'm almost certain we're going to have that, at least for... We can at least have that for things that aren't the tile set, right? Like stuff that's just getting baked in the tile set. I think having that be palette swappable easily is going to be tougher. But things that are node-based, like characters, or foreground furniture stuff, anything that actually has a node existence, I think will be pretty trivial to do that for. I'll have to figure out a way to do that for stuff that's baked into the tile set though. But, you know, maybe we can still do it because of the autotiler. Maybe there could be part of the autotiler that actually does a color lookup thing. The problem is we would need to like bake that in. But I feel like we're not going to have an issue with like texture size or whatever, or like even if we just pre-bake a bunch of variations, I don't think we'll have a problem. I don't know if they'll be able to be totally arbitrary. Like, I don't know if there's going to be like a totally raw color picker, because I'm trying not to recreate a sprite in the game. I'm like doing my best to not fully recreate a sprite within the confines of the game. But I am tempted. I am tempted. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're doing good, Void Blit. Thanks for hanging out here. Could you do it with a shader? We could do it with a shader for node-based stuff. The problem is doing it with a shader for tile-based stuff is tough, because as far as I can tell, you can't per tile. Well, I guess we wouldn't need to do it per tile, right? We could do it per tile map. Yeah, maybe we could do it with a shader for the tile map. Maybe we could do that. We'll have to think about it. That could be cool. Since we're gonna have a system that generates tile atlases at runtime anyway, like through the edit system, it might make more sense to just have a version of that that lets you create palette swapped atlases. Like it still might be better to pay that cost up front or once rather than doing it in a shader like constantly. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. All right, so there's an issue with these two lines down here. It's either the x+4 or the x+8. It's one of these branches, and I will see. We'll see which one. Just gotta figure it out. What am I doing? Oh yeah, I'm looking at the texture atlas here. Let's go to the wall. Let's find so it's the x+4 branch that's causing this problem. That's what it looks like. So if cutaway, so if we have a half block, that's a different branch. Doing it at texture baking time would probably be best. Yeah, that's my thought, because I don't think it'll just be totally open-ended. I think we can doing it. I mean, we could still do it at runtime. But yeah, I don't think I would want to have to pay to do it every frame in a shader or whatever. I think I would rather just do it when you build the ship. You could build the ship and then the tile thing could just be like, oh, these are the colors we're going to use. Cool. You could probably submit your own palettes or something. Although I don't know. Again, I'm really trying not to just have a full-on paint program in the game. All right, so I think it's this branch. So we're saying if the cutaway has a half, so if our negative neighbor, we're in the Y side. Yeah. So if our negative neighbor has a half bulk and wait, what is this? And not key with bulk Y. This is a bulk Y. I copied some code over somewhere. Oh, this is bulk X. Wait, what? What? What are we doing? What are we asking? I think I might have made a mistake at one point here. figure it out. All right, let me make another attempt mentally here to understand what's happening. Okay, so we need to check our negative y neighbor because we are an x face. So we're basically deciding whether to have this half-chopped version of the outline or the full outline. And so we're not correctly jumping to using the half outline in some cases, which is what's causing that outline to go all the way through. Shenanigans, you're doing yours as materials with textures. If people want to change them, the intent is it should be easy to mod, not building anything to make that customizable in-game. That is a reasonable, insane choice. We're kind of going off the deep end by trying to have the game content itself be editable during runtime. Not necessarily while you're playing a run, obviously, but, you know, in the edit mode. Like, the fact that our editor tool works in the game, and that's in fact the only time it works. Like, we could have made a version of this tool that's just a tool script that you would need to, like, install Godot and, like, do it that way. That would have been a way that we could have done it, but we're doing it in-game, which adds a lot of complexity, I think. But it's still not that bad, because it's just a tiny little 2D pixel art game. Like, even if we're just, like, creating textures, I don't foresee a problem with that, really. And in fact, it would make sense that if you build your own ship and you want to use like a palette, a different palette or whatever, that stuff gets saved with the ship so that you could share it, and you're not like, you wouldn't have a problem of like, I loaded the ship and it looks wrong because it's like, it's trying to use like the stock palette or whatever. So we'll have to come up with a way of packaging all of that in a way that it's shareable. All right, so we check our negative x neighbor. So if that has a half bulk cutaway, which is like, we're only showing the bottom half, then what we need to do is we need to make sure that this atlas chords is being announced, the x is being offset by 4. But this, it looks like this check is preventing that from happening. If not holes dot try get value, key with w equals int tile layers. So why are we checking if, so this is basically saying if we don't have a bulk. I don't understand the intention of writing this part. I would like to, because I wrote it. But this doesn't really make sense. It basically says, it's basically asking if we ourselves exist, which it's like we wouldn't even we would not have gotten this far if this is false. Like, if this is false, then we wouldn't have even gotten into this function. So yeah. Oh, speaking of which, how does this work? Yeah, we wouldn't even gotten to the bulk X if the bulk X, because we use the key, and the key includes the tile type, and that's what we're switching on. So what was I trying to do with that? I wonder. It's more like if this is a half bulk and we are not, is essentially what it would need to be. Well, maybe not. Maybe we don't need to make that check. Let's just remove this and see if this works. I'm concerned. Nix, you love SSH so much, just being able to take some device, give it Ethernet, and then just being able to connect to it. No screen, no keyboard needed. It's on the other side of the moon. Yeah, that's it. That is pretty fancy. I don't do that much, but when I do, I am impressed by it. Like I don't maintain many servers. I maintain a Valheim server for my friend group, which is fun. Like a dedicated server that I host. That's kind of the only time I have to do any stuff related to that. But it's cool. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, we can't test it here. You can only test it indoors. So let me make a level here. All right, now we'll just make some stuff. We'll see what happens. There we go. Now the outline doesn't go all the way through. I'm still concerned about what that line of code was doing. I don't know why it was there. I feel like it's like when you find a bolt in something and you're like, this bolt was attached to something. But what? What was it? What was it attached to? And sometimes you just have a leftover bolt and you're like, this is probably fine. So far, this looks okay. All the cutaway stuff looks correct. What about the selection layers version? Yeah, the selection layers version looks the same too. This seems okay. Oh, that's a little broken. There's one case where this is broken. I can't really point to it. But right at the edge, you can see right at the edge it's missing a white outline. So we need an exception there. We need a mask check. So we just need to add an exception to that. We need to add an exception to both of these for the mask. Rhiannon, SSH tunneling is nice. You can secure your server with SSH keys and still connect to your SQL, to MySQL securely, to your MySQL without exposing it on a public IP address and poke around if needed. Yeah, that's pretty cool. 5 years from now, that missing line of code is going to cause me to start from the beginning. Yeah, that's my concern. Diginanigans, it's a weird mix of super performant, what you're on, but the visual feedback is super laggy. But the actual work getting done is super fast too. Oh, yeah, I missed it in a previous line. It can get real trippy having to remote desktop into a machine from a decent computer over a not so great connection, then SSHing into a beefy server. Then you get the weird mix of super performant, but with bad visual feedback, but the work being done is super fast. Yeah, that's funny. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to basically grab this part with the mask. I think we can just say this. Do we want to do this? Do we want to do... I think we can just do mask as null. I don't think we need to do any hull type comparisons. Because I actually wouldn't know what hull type to compare to. We would need to pull it. Actually, I guess that is something we want to do here. Let's try this. Let's make this a little more complicated here. So we're gonna do a try get. We're gonna say hulls try get value p minus vector 3i dot x. Oh, it's not gonna let us. Can I just use adjacent negative x? We've already asked that up here. Can I just use it again? Looks like I can. This is questionable what I'm doing here, but it might work. Oh, it's not the negative x that we're... Oh, no, it is. Okay, so in that case, the way we're going to check this is we're going to say this. We're going to say adjacent negative x is equal to hull. And we're going to do the same thing on this one. This hasn't been giving us trouble, but I want to protect us in case we do get trouble. I'm going to move this code around a little bit, maybe. I'm going to move the X parts to all be in the same... Oh, no, I can't do that. Can I? Oh, yeah, I can. Move the X stuff up here. So all the X stuff will come first, and then we'll do the Y stuff. I don't know if that's intuitive or not, but it's what I'm doing. So we have to add support for masks, like a selection stuff. So that's what we're doing here. Add another parentheses to make everyone happy. Oh, and adjacent is equal to hull. So we got x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 4, x plus 8, and y plus 1, y plus 2, y plus 4. Okay, let's do the same thing on the other side now, I guess. Oh, wait. Hold on. Hold on. No, that's right. That's right. Okay. Well, actually, you know, I'd be kind of sad if I end up only doing one game jam this year. I mean, I attempted one already, but might have to look for another one. Besides Ludum Dare and Down to Jam. I might need to look for one later in the year. Hey, Silas. How's it going? So, yeah, if anyone sees a solo, a jam that supports solos, I might consider it. I guess there might be another solo dev jam I should probably consider doing. How are you doing, Silas? All right, did we fix this? Or did we make it worse? I should probably remove these. This isn't as many, you know, this is all the auto tiling rules. This one page right here is all the auto tiling rules for one of the faces. This is definitely what I would consider like a nest, like a horrible nest of conditions, but I feel like it could be worse. Let's see if we're going to correctly handle the edge of the selection. You're doing fine? You're making some progress on the game? Hell yeah. Any progress is good progress. Sometimes even a reversion is good progress, you know? You know what I'm saying? All right, so if you make a block, we want to make sure that as we cut away parts of the block, the outlining works correctly, looking good. And then if we select half of it, we select the edge here, and then we go around and we cut away part of it. There we go. That's it. That's what you want to see. So you take the selection away. Yeah, all right. Some selection specific. And then so what if I do like this? Oh, I don't think there's a way to do this. That's fine. Then I don't have to worry about it. If it can't be done, don't have to worry about it. All right, so let's figure out why this set of outlines isn't showing up. This bottom one here at the base of the wall, where the wall meets the floor. Yeah, you do. How's it going? Yeah, it's pretty good. We did this big auto tile refactor where we're funneling all of basically any call to the auto tiler is getting funneled through the same set of functions, whether it's the regular haul, like the grayscale haul, or it's like a selection overlay or like a weird other kind of overlay or mask or whatever. Like we've got everything running through a unified auto tiler with one set of rules, which is really great and it's going to make it a lot easier to maintain. I don't anticipate the rules changing very much, but they probably will once we start introducing fun shapes like triangular shapes and like rounded shapes and like other weird shapes. It'll probably get complicated, but at least it's all one. All right, so we think we probably have a problem here with one of the y's, probably y plus 2, 1, probably y plus 1. Yeah, y plus 1. Okay, the y plus 1 branch is not, or is not as scrutinizing as it should be. It's this one. So this branch is overly generous. And so what it needs to do is it actually needs to check. It needs to check not just that the hull type is the same. It needs to check that there's like, I guess it needs to check whether there's a neighboring block or not. How do we want to do this? How do we want to do this? Seems quite advanced. Yeah. It does one thing very well. Is odd shape support happening before simulation? It shouldn't. It very much should not. Except also it should. But no, it probably shouldn't. Let's open that file up. Look at it for a second. Full shape exploration. So, I don't know if I love this background color I picked. So like these fun shapes, right? There's one reason that we need to like consider support, which is the fact, which has mostly to do with the flood fill system. So the flood fill system is going to need to treat these blocks very differently because they're not sealing. These are no self-sealing stem bolts, you know what I mean? These are like these unusual shapes. I say unusual, but any shape that doesn't just absolutely fill the space like a cube is going to have consequences for the flood fill system. So yeah, we could actually probably go ahead and not implement these and start working on the simulation. Because the only thing that's going to be impacted would be the flood fill, and that's self-contained. So when we do eventually implement these, because the other thing is we also need to consider how we're gonna build the tile atlases for these guys, which is on the roadmap in terms of we want an atlas builder, but we have to think about that's going to be complicated, and so I have to think about how that's going to work. He'll spam, he's dead, Jim, if I start working on it for simulation. Okay, good. The flood fill does make it seem like it at least needs to be considered. Nah, yeah, well, kind of. It kind of does and it kind of doesn't, because the flood fill system is all it does at the end of the day is it tells you where the compartments are and which walls like are boundaries of each compartment. So at the end of the day, the simulation is only going to care about the compartment stuff. So it doesn't need to know about these blocks. It just needs to know about the compartments. And then the flood fill will be able to make the distinction of like, these blocks are sealing, but only from a particular direction. And then so the flood fill can see that and says, it can look at this triangular block and be like, does this block actually create a seal? If it does, we'll make a compartment. If it doesn't, there's a leak. So I guess parts of the simulation might care. Like the atmospheric control stuff will be a little primitive until we can get this part working. Because we're going to have fun little diagonal leaks and stuff like that, where like the corners of a room will start leaking because like a wall's been blown up on the other side, or you misplaced a triangular piece or something. So there's like a tiny leak. I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. Separation of concerns for the win. Yeah, we got to do that somewhere, or we're going to have a bad time. To shenanigans, basically they seal specific directions. Yeah, they do. And those ones particularly will only seal like corners. Either corners in like the 2-dimensional sense or like in the 3-dimensional sense, depending on which shape. Like a triangle might only seal its you know, the one corner of like the I don't know the terms of different parts of geometric objects, but I think you figured it out. Each tile type could have a bit mask showing which faces of a tile, top, bottom, each side, and you just check in your flood fill if the tile has the required bit mask. We're going to do something like that. We have that information at the block level because it's the block that tells that. I haven't decided how I'm going to do. It's going to be a bit mask, you're right. I was originally setting it up to be like a vector, but that's so wasteful that it's going to just be a bit mask. I just need to do it and add it to the block. But yeah, that's exactly how we're going to do it. And the flood fill will just be like, does it seal in this direction? Yep. And if it does, great. If not, forget about it, right? Yeah, you got it. All right, so our y+1 is misbehaving. So what do we think is happening here? But don't start too soon. Well, we just had to think about it because a block, you know, we want to keep blocks pretty small because they're not components. So we don't worry about that, but they are buffer. They're going to be buffer elements. So the bigger they are, the more huge these buffers are going to be. All right. Can I get a he's dead gem for my coffee?
He's dead, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you, Rhiannon Journey. I gotta add more of those. I'm gonna do it. I just need to find a good source. I want to start adding some TNG ones. Maybe some, honestly, I might add some Babylon 5 ones too. I love the characterizations on that show. I just watched a whole video about how Londo and Jakar are like the best, might be one of the best character matchups of all time. And I kind of agree about that. I kind of agree with that. Such a set of tragic rivals and friends. Enemies. 2 seconds too late, Nix. Well, I appreciate the effort. Shenanigans, you're refactoring your editing tools for a third time, replacing a good chunk of the tech stack. Nice, nice. That's what we like to see. That's what we like to see. I mean, working on the game means you've just run out of tools to work on, right? That's the problem. All right. So we do a hull check for a floor tile. That's a good thing to check. We want to check for a floor tile. But we also want to check for a floor tile in front of us. Yes, yes, yes. And not hulls.target value. So this should be preventing it, but there's an OR here which says not cutaways.has key.xyz plus vector3i.x. Ah, this is wrong. This shouldn't be full bulk. It should be full deck. Weird that this only comes up for the selection. I wonder why. Oh, wait. I'm not thinking of this right. Because we're saying these are the conditions under which we're allowed to get rid of the outline, the bottom outline. Actually, let's just do that and see what happens. That's my favorite. That's my favorite way of figuring stuff out here. Should be fairly quick to port everything over this time to Shenanigans, but it's back to Hello World again. Ooh, okay. That's the real refactor right there. This is one of the first times I've managed to work on like a large game project, and I haven't refactored it for like quite some time. So it looks like things have gone worse here. Things do not seem well so far, based on what I was just doing. Yeah, that made everything a lot worse. I see. We're missing a ton of overlays now, or outlines. Okay, so that's not it. All right. Last time I like started this game over from scratch, I switched from Unity Godot. I switched from 3D voxels to 2D tile maps. That's it. Those are pretty big changes, though. And oh, I guess the other thing is I switched from focusing on the outside of the ship, like in a Cosmeteer kind of way, or not Cosmeteer, like a Captain Jameson or Captain Forever kind of way. And I started to focus more on the inside of the ship. So I like did a lot of things. I like turned it inside out. I like dropped a dimension essentially, and I changed engines. And we've been kind of going strong ever since. That was like a year and a half ago or whatever. Almost 2 years ago, actually. So, we've been cooking. We've been cooking for a while. All right, so what do I think needs to happen here? So how do I do this in a way that doesn't ruin everything else? So this is actually a problem with the mask, I think. Or the last check. Because this I don't have this issue when we're just doing a regular auto tile. I don't have this bottom outline issue, but I do have it, and I don't have it here, which is interesting. Quite curious. Oh, that's because of the cutaway, right? So I need also a condition here. It basically needs to say, oh, it's because it's not at the edge of the mask. Right. It works in this context, though, which is interesting. But again, that's because of the cutaway. So we want to just make sure that... So we can, for the cutaway branch part where it says or not cutaways.has this. We need the alternative of hull check. So what we can do is we can say this. Do you prefer 2D, the 2D over the 3D voxels? You feel like 3D would make lots of things simpler? Camera rotation? Yeah, camera rotation would be simpler. 2D feels right. Yeah, I think the 2D presentation of this feels really good. I know we've spent like at least 6 months, probably longer, only working on an autotiler, basically. Basically since the holidays, because I think in over the holidays we did our like entity component system. And then since then, I think we've only been working on the autotiler and the editor set tools, and we're like not done. So it's definitely more complicated to do it in 2D. But I think we're chasing a very unique aesthetic. But I think it's important to keep in mind that the simulation is in 3D. So I give a friend of mine a lot of crap when he calls my blocks voxels. I'm like, they're not voxels, they're blocks. We're not rendering them, so they're not voxels. But from a gameplay standpoint, this game is more 3D than 2D, right? Why do I do a try get value? Can I not just do a contains? I can do a contains key. I don't know why I do. We're going to say key. Actually, we're just going to say key plus vector3i.x out. Because we don't need to check. Is it an or? So if this is and or, right? Where's the and? Or this, or not this. And not this, and not this, and not this. So this'll return as true. So if there isn't, so it's got to be this. There has to be. If there is a hull there. Or if there is a hull there and we're not cutting it away. I think this is it. I think it's not this. Or this and this. I think this is it. Let's check this with this one side. Let's see what we did here. Yeah, I should probably reorganize the task list into what needs to be done before we move on to the simulation layer and what can wait and be done later. I should probably start making that distinction, huh? We're getting to that point. Oh, it works. We got this white outline here now. Did I break it in some other way, though? Let's see if there are any weird outlines. I don't see anything weird happening. I actually see this being incredibly robust now for us, which is great. All right. I'm convinced that that kind of worked, so let's do that on the other side. I might reorder this a little bit, though. I'm going to say if this and not this. Or this. I think I like that structure better. Ship it. Yep. But yeah, there are definitely some like crazy issues that we wouldn't have if we just switched. If we were doing 3D instead of 2D. Full 3D. That's like the advice everyone, or not, I wouldn't say advice. The input that people say are like, wouldn't this be just easier to do in 3D? Like the art would be easier. Everything would be easier. Like people are always sharing with me cool, even people are even sharing with me cool tools that are like, how do you do dead cells? Like you make art in 3D and then you get it into 2D, and it's like, and I've barely started to learn how to do pixel art. You telling me I gotta learn like a 3D workflow? I think we could do this game in something like Blockbench, but I don't think we would get the look. What we would probably end up trying to do in that case, we would do kind of like what what's his name? Hilltop Games, the Hilltop Games dev, the long gone dev. I think that's the name of the game. They have this they're an incredible artist that's like a real AAA artist, like an ex-AAA artist. And they're working on a game that's got a really nice 2.5D kind of aesthetic. And I am pretty jealous of that, but I don't think I have the chops to do something like that. So we're just we're taking a different approach. I think we've almost done it. I think we've almost fixed every bug that we've identified so far here. Let's make the full, what I would call the full test bed, which is like we make our big cinder block here, and we just take a look at it. Okay, the outlining is correct. It looks a little funky, but that's due to some outlining issues that are known. That is not related to what we're working on. It has to do with me needing to remake the atlases to be a little different. Yeah, whatever works. There's pros and cons to both. Purely 2D is simpler for the most part, but more work on average and creating assets. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty right, I think. Oh. Oh, wait, I understand why that's happening. Okay. That's fine. I do like our little semi-transparent interactive overlay we've got going. All right. Now let's do like a weird selection where we like do this like multi-layer selection or something. Like this. Okay, there's a problem. So the floors are correctly doing an interior outline. Oh, there's another. Well, is that a problem? Okay, I see an outline that is there that shouldn't be there, and I see an outline that is missing. So I spoke a little too soon. But it's looking close. It's looking close. Oh, weird. It's only happening in certain cases. Fascinating. I think this is, again, an issue where, like, when there is a cutaway, it's showing it correctly, but if there isn't a cutaway, it's, like, misunderstanding the situation. Which makes sense, in a way. That was a pretty good song. Yeah, that was cool. It was cool. Almost went for my coffee cup. I know it's dead. All right, so that is the front neighbor, and it's the left outline for the front neighbor. Okay, let's fix this one first, because I think I very clearly understand what this one is, what this one's about. The other one is a little weird. This one. So that's correct. That's wrong. Correct. Wrong. Okay. But yeah, it's looking slick. It's really cool to be kind of reaching the conclusion of this part. I say conclusion, we're probably going to spend like 2 months on serialization and then and then some time working on something else. But we're doing something, okay? We're doing stuff. We're not on the clock here. Except in the most general sense. But this is mostly working, right? Eagle-eyed viewers will be able to spot some like pixel gaps, which is like a consequence of the outlining system as a whole rather than like this particular thing. But that's okay. Yeah, we actually have a problem there too. Actually, that's the same problem. All right, so X face. Looking left. So that's X plus 2. Or is it? Actually, no, it's X plus 1, huh? I think we need similar logic. The logic we just added to the Y plus 1, I think we need similar logic in the X plus 1. Which is unfortunate because the X plus 1 is getting quite involved here. Starting to come together? Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate the enthusiasm, the encouragement. I mean, one of my biggest learnings about this sort of thing has been like you keep things working. If you do something that like totally destroys your ability to get visual feedback on what you're working on, whatever that means, it's so tough. I've had projects die because that have happened, right? Where like the build breaks and like the amount of work involved to like getting it working again is just like, you're like, oh great. And if you don't do that work right, you might spend weeks, days or weeks not being able to see the result of the work. And it can just like be like death by 1,000 cuts, like every day that the program doesn't build or that you can't see, even if it doesn't fully build, like you just, I think our motivation is a very fickle thing for a lot of people. Some people can just power through it, but I think for at least me and for other people I've talked to, it's like if you make a mistake and your game becomes unplayable for like extended periods of time, that can kill a project. It will at least take the joy out of it for some amount of time. And that loss of momentum can be lethal. So I've been trying to go out of my way to like not break anything. You know, in such a way where like even if I've torn, you know, like we put in a whole new autotiler, but we didn't tear out the old one until we were done with the new one. Cuz it's like people would come in and they'd be like, "Oh, what are you working on?" And it's like, well, you don't want to be like, I tore it in half. Maybe I can show it to you next week. Like that doesn't work. That especially doesn't work while streaming. All right. So the thing we did to fix this is we were like, if the hull is here and there's no cutaway, so we need something similar. We need to say, all right, so this is where we talk about the minus x plus y, I think. Where are we doing that? Oh. I actually don't know if we're going to have time to fix this last little bug, which probably means we're going to be working on this tomorrow. Probably not going to do a Let's Play tomorrow. Probably going to have to work on the game some more because there's a few more bugs and I really want to be done with this section. Random Journey, you need fast iteration cycles on any kind of software dev for you to enjoy. Yeah, it's helpful. Shenanigans, you've been in those slumps for weeks. Yeah, the weeks part is when you're like on the death march and you're like, oh, I just don't want to do this. Right now, you like that you're able to bounce between working on the editor tools, the game itself, prototyping the UI, and creating terrain tiles. That way, if you get in a rut in one area, you can bounce to another and it mixes things up a bit. I would love to get to that point because we're only really working on the one tool right now, so we can't really bounce around. That's kind of been my approach, just so I don't lose context on stuff. But yeah, it's I would love to take time to be like, I want to work on art this week. Or, maybe we should start exploring soundscapes or something like. All right. All right. So we have at least 2 more bugs in the autotiler. I don't think I'm going to find this one very quickly because this is one of the more, it's on the X+1 path, which is like, I mean, just look at it. It's a little tricky. So I think this is going to take a bit to fix. I guess I need to find the cutaway part. Cutaway. So we're on the Y cell, so the minus X. We want to know about the plus. Y face. X face plus Y plus Y plus X plus XY. Yeah. Okay, so is there do we do any plus XY reasoning here? We don't seem to, which is a little perplexing. I think we do that on the floor level, on the deck level, which is why it's working fine there. So I guess we can look to that to find the solution. Oh, maybe we don't do that here either. Huh. YZ. Okay, yeah. There's a blind spot in the autotiler. I see it now. Probably tackle that tomorrow though. Just because I got to get back to work here. I know these have been really short streams. That's just been me not being available for the full amount of time that I try to be available for streaming. But yeah, that's what we'll do tomorrow. We'll keep working. I'm gonna probably wrap it up here. But if I don't see you tomorrow, I hope you all have a great weekend. Yeah. This song is weird. I don't know if I love this song. But it's about to end. Yeah. I was just waiting to dislike that track. Yeah, I guess thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you next time. Yeah, weekend. It's your weekend already, Nix? Nice. Let's go. Ship it. Bye.